You know, we cannot protect your children from pro-terror student organizations because the president of Columbia University will not speak out.
One step forward. One step forward.
Good evening here in Israel. Good morning in America and Canada, where many of you are watching us today. We are here to solemnly observe Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day. This is a live broadcast from Jerusalem, from the Friends of Zion Museum. We have many honorable guests with us today, and for those of you who are viewing us internationally, we also have a full room here in Jerusalem watching as well. So we welcome you. We thank you for being here with us today on this very special occasion. And we have a very important program for this evening. Before we begin, I'd like to first welcome the CEO of the Friends of Zion Museum, Daniel Wojcik, a good friend of mine and a fantastic leader. Daniel, please join us.
Thank you, Avi. Distinguished guests, Holocaust survivors, ambassadors, and diplomats, thank you for coming and taking part in our Holocaust memorial event and discussion about the raising of anti-Semitism since October 7th, here at the Friends of Zion Museum in Jerusalem. We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. These two quotes are from Elie Wiesel, one of the most famous survivors of the Holocaust and a world-renowned author and Nobel Peace recipient. Our museum tells the stories of brave individuals who made the courageous choice to take a stand rather than remain passive observers, such as Chuini Sugihara, a Japanese diplomat who served as vice consul for the Japanese Empire in Lithuania. During the Second World War, Sugihara helped thousands of Jews flee Europe by issuing transit visas to them so that they could travel through Japanese territory, risking his career and his lives of his family. Another hero, Raoul Wallenberg, a Swedish businessman and diplomat. He is widely celebrated for saving tens of thousands of Jews in Nazi-occupied Hungary during the Holocaust. Before the Soviets entered the city, he told his colleague, "I've taken on this assignment and I will never be able to go back to Stockholm without knowing inside myself that I've done all a man could do to save as many Jews as possible." We are here today to remember what happened in the Holocaust and on October 7th, and to say loud and clear, never again. There are times you need to be brave and stand up with the truth, and we're asking everyone to take a firm stand in the current war of good versus evil and say aloud, we stand with Israel.
Thank you, Daniel. At 10 a.m. this morning, sirens echoed across Israel, a somber tribute to the 6 million Jewish souls, innocent children, women, and men, whose lives were extinguished in the engulfing darkness of the Holocaust. In this hushed moment, Israel stood in unwavering solidarity, bowing in reverence to their memory. Today, amongst the hallowed grounds of Jerusalem, The Abraham Global Peace Initiative stands alongside cherished friends and the esteemed Friends of Zion Museum to honor Yom HaShoah, a solemn occasion that unites hearts across continents. With deep gratitude, we welcome each of you who have chosen to stand with us today. Our agenda holds profound significance as we convene a gathering of esteemed speakers, both live and through Zoom, to navigate the depth of this historic day and contemplate the ominous rise of anti-Semitism. This year, October 7th, bears the weight of a harrowing recollections from the Holocaust annals. On that fateful day, 1,200 precious lives were cruelly snatched away from us, their voices silenced by unfathomable violence. A further 154 were cruelly torn from their families, leaving behind a haunting absence. Our prayers fervently echo for the safe return of the remaining hostages. Just yesterday, I walked in the midst of Kfar Aza, a tranquil kibbutz now scarred by the merciless onslaught of Hamas. Here in the serene enclave, 64 souls were mercilessly lost, with another 19 torn from their loved ones, their fate hanging in the balance. 6 of their brethren remain captive. Their absence is poignant, testament to the depth of our collective sorrow. As I traversed through the desolate streets where once laughter danced in the air, I couldn't help but seize the profound sense of, and I'm sorry to use the word, déjà vu. The parallels to the Holocaust were hauntingly palpable. Families torn asunder, lives shattered in an instant, and dreams extinguished by the flames of hatred. The memories of the Holocaust are etched into our national consciousness. Yet, unlike our forebears, we are not defenseless. We stand fortified by the stalwart guardianship of the IDF, a beacon of strength in our darkest hour. And while our defenses faltered on October the 7th, our resolve remains unyielding. For here, in the heart of Jerusalem, the eternal capital of our people, the beloved Israel, we stand united in our determination to defend our homeland. The Holocaust serves as a somber reminder of our resilience in the face of adversity. It binds us together as a people, fortifying our spirits against the encroaching shadows of evil. While the events of October 7th bear no comparison to the atrocities of the Holocaust, they serve as a stark reminder to the enduring threat that we face. Had it not been for the valor of the IDF, the repercussions of Hamas's genocidal ambitions would have been unfathomable. Today, as we mourn the loss of the 6 million and the countless others who perished and beyond, let us remember that these tragedies do not define us. They embolden us. Never again is not merely a refrain. It is a clarion call to action. To all those watching from the sanctity of your homes, I implore you to heed the wisdom of our forefathers. Quote, "You are not obliged to complete your work, but neither are you free to desist it. Our resolve shall never waver. Our efforts should not falter. We shall continue to build our nation, even as we honor the cherished memories of those we lost. May their legacy be a reminder to us all, and may their memory be a blessing." Thank you. Thank you. It is now my honor, as we begin the memorial of Yom HaShoah, to bring forth Cantor Ariel Cohen, who will recite the Kel Maleh Rachamim, which, for those of you who are not, who don't know, it's the Jewish prayer for the deceased. Cantor.
אל מלא רחמים, שוכן במרומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה על כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מאירים ומזהירים, לנשמות 6 מיליונים אחינו ואחיותינו, רבבות רבבות אלפי ישראל, אנשים, נשים וטף, שנהרגו, שנשחטו, שנשרפו, שנחנקו, שנקברו חיים, ושהומתו בכל מיני מיתות משונות ואכזריות בידי הגרמנים הנאצים ועוזריהם, ושהלכו לעולמם על קידוש השם, בעבור שאנו מתפללים לעילוי נשמותיהם. לכן בעל הרחמים יסתירם תחת כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמותיהם בגן עדן, תמנוחתם. אדוני הוא נחלתם, וינוחו בשלום על משכמותם, ונאמר
Thank you, Cantor. Ariel. You know, 6 million Jews were murdered in the Holocaust. Today we remember them. Each one had a name. To mark the 6 million, we will be lighting 6 candles. And it is my honor and pleasure to invite to the stage Holocaust survivor Yaakov Lieberman. Now, Yaakov Lieberman was born in 1937 in the city of Rostov. He survived the Holocaust with his mother and brother, and he immigrated to Israel in 1995. He today serves as the chairman of the Jerusalem Association of Holocaust Survivors. Next, I would like to welcome for the second candle Her Excellency Mrs. Maria Veronica Abad Rojas. She's the ambassador of Ecuador. Please. Okay, I'm told that she's not here yet. In her place, it's my honor to invite the Deputy Mayor of Jerusalem, and we will introduce her more formally in a few minutes. Fleur Nahum Hasson, please light the second candle. To light the third candle is Her Excellency Mrs. Ines Demiri of Kosovo. Is she here? Okay. Please. Thank you. And the fourth candle will go to His Excellency, Mr. Veikko Kala of Estonia. Thank you. The fifth candle will be lit by Juha Angel. He is the son of Holocaust survivors. You will meet him later. He's also the grandfather of one of the kidnapped victims of October the 7th. Thank you. And for the last candle, the sixth candle, we'd like to invite Danielle Moore, who's the Vice President and Director of Christian Friends for the Jewish Agency. And I'd like to ask everybody to remain standing as we invite back Cantor Cohen to now recite the Aramaic prayer for honoring the dead. It's called the Kaddish. Please rise.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. בעלמא דיברה קירותה, וימליך מלכותה, ויצמח פורקנה, ויקרב משיחה. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעלם לעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל לשמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה שירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. על ישראל ועל רבנן ועל תלמידיהון ועל כל תלמידיהון תלמידי דעסקין באוריתה קדישתה. די באתרא הדן ודי בכל אתר ואתר. יהא לנה ולהון ולכון, חינה וחסדה ורחמה, מן קודם מראה שמיה והרעה, ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, חיים ושבע וישועה ונחמה ושזבה, ורפואה וגאולה וסליחה וכפרה, ורווח והצלה, לנו ולכל עמו ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, והוא ברחמיו ויעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל עמו ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. The theme of our memorial today is a significant one as we watch the anti-Semitism rise in the United States and in Canada and in Europe. We're seeing over the last couple of weeks the incredible tragedy of the rising tide of anti-Semitism on university campuses, particularly these so-called encampments. This is raising a significant concern. Many Holocaust survivors tell us that in some cases it's even worse than what they saw preceding the Holocaust. And so this is an important theme because, of course, anti-Semitism, the Holocaust was a consequence of anti-Semitism. And so we're going to run a short video to introduce to you a man who may not need much introduction because he's been on the news and in social media at Columbia University, Professor Shai Davidai. Let's run the video and then we'll introduce him.
Can you back up, please?
My card has been deactivated? Why?
Can you back up, please?
Wait. Everybody, my card has been deactivated. This is Cass Holloway, the COO. This is Gerald Lewis. They were in the meeting where I asked them if Hamas is a terror organization, and they couldn't say that it is a terrorist organization. Why? I'm a professor. Why can I?
Shai,
No. Speak out loud so the media.
Shai, we are willing to take you to the math lawn.
No, I am a professor here.
We have a right.
Wait, everybody quiet. I am a professor here. I have every right to be everywhere on campus. You cannot let people that support Hamas on campus and me, a professor, not go on campus. Let me in now.
Let us in!
No.
Let Shai in!
Are you not letting a professor go on campus?
Let him in! Let him in! Shame on you!
I have not just a civil right as a Jewish person to be on campus. I have a right as a professor employed by the university to be on campus. They deactivated my card. These are 5 lawsuits happening, but we don't want to sue. We just want to be Jewish in public. Let us in.
How can you do that?
Now, since October the 7th and the beginning of the disturbances at Columbia University, Professor Davidai has been a prominent voice in the protest against the academia's handling of pro-Palestinian protests and instances of anti-Semitism within the institution. So, do we have Shai Davidai with us online? Okay, I think they're connected. There you are. Need some volume. Can you hear us, Shai? You can hear us. We can't hear you. You might be on mute. You're not on. You are? Okay. No, we still can't hear you. Okay, let's let the technical people try to figure this out for a minute. Well, you're looking good, despite the circumstances. Okay. Can you try now to speak? Something just happened.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
We got you. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Really.
It's Yom HaShoah, and we're talking today about anti-Semitism here at the Friends of Zion Museum, directly from Jerusalem, as you know. We've been watching you for these past couple of weeks, and you've been incredible in your fight against anti-Semitism at Columbia.
Thank you very much. I wish I didn't have to fight it, but given that that's the situation we're in, that's what we have to do.
Tell us, let's start with this, a very brief update of what's happening right now. Is the university allowing you back on campus? We just saw your video of them barring you, actually, from going onto the campus, which you work on, actually.
Yeah, so right now the university is completely on shutdown. Only essential personnel are allowed in. I was told that once that shutdown the lockdown is lifted, I'll be able to go in. But the most recent update is that they canceled the graduation ceremony. So they've capitulated to this very small but very violent group and ruined the graduation for thousands of students. Yeah.
And we've seen the violence on campus, the breaking into the buildings, the breaking of glass. really a shocking reminder. You know, we're here on Yom HaShoah, and just a shocking reminder when we think about those same images of breaking things and broken glass and breaking into buildings, occupying them, barring Jewish students from attending. What does that make you feel?
You know, as an educator, you know, putting my Jewish identity aside, putting my Israeli identity aside, just focusing on myself as an educator, the reason we have such an important role as educators, and especially when educating about the Holocaust, is not so much just to remember and commemorate what happened, but also to identify the processes, the signals, the points that allowed this to happen. Because when we say never again, we mean it. We mean never again. And how do we make sure that this never happens again? And for me, the past 7 months on Columbia's campus and other campuses have been focused especially on that, on identifying these points where they might have different language than they did 80 years ago. They might have different ideologies, but they're the same kind of processes. The hate is the same, even if it disguises itself as something different. And the processes that allow the hate to proliferate and move into action are the same. And for me, that's the focus and the scariest part of observing everything I've seen here.
Professor, I'm from Toronto, Canada, and, soon after the encampments that started popping up in the United States, they also started popping up in Vancouver and in Montreal, and then, of course, in Toronto and elsewhere. So they are mutating. That gives us tremendous, tremendous concern. You've been now at this for a few weeks, probably much longer. Do you have a solution? Do you have any ideas on how it is that we deal with this?
Yeah, I mean, we have long-term and short-term solutions. And I think the long-term solution is clear to everyone. Education. There's no alternative to education. And specifically, when we think about Holocaust education, we don't just need to think about the end result, Auschwitz, Birkenau, Treblinka. We need to think about the process that started in 1923 with the attempted putsch, and then the rise to power in 1933, and how a seemingly normal, ordinary population has evolved to a killing machine. So that's an important thing, but just something that we have to focus on long term. But short term, we have to remember, we have institutions, and these institutions are responsible for the safety of everyone, Jews and non-Jews. Those institutions are from the federal government in the United States to state governments, to city mayors, to university presidents, to school deans within the university. Every one of those levels has a responsibility for keeping us safe. And right now, every one of those people in those levels are just, quote unquote, doing their job. Now, we know what happens when very, very good people, well-intentioned people are just doing their jobs. So my goal, and I think the goal of all of us Jewish people in the diaspora, is to shake up the institutions, not violently and peacefully, but shake them up so they wake up to what's happening and start actually fighting this. Because if we don't fight this now, we know where this ends. And I see this as a fight, not just as a Jewish person, but as a fight for humanity. Because we have to remember, in addition to the 6 million Jews that were murdered in the Holocaust, we had hundreds of thousands of LGBTQ individuals. We have Romas. We had Jehovah's Witnesses. We had Black individuals in Germany that were taken into camps. So we have to make this clear. We're fighting for humanity. And it always starts with the Jews. It never ends with the Jews. And that's why it's so important to really shake the institutions up for them to do their jobs rather than just do their jobs.
Professor, I agree with you completely. You know, and I'm wondering what you think of this. We're here in Israel, and of course, you know, those of you who live in Israel full time, you're experiencing the war with Hamas. You know, the images after October 7th that have come through on media, the obvious fact now that Hamas raped women, and that's now been documented quite widely. In other words, what I'm trying to articulate is that you would expect that on universities, okay, the most educated people would have paid attention, would have understood what Hamas is. And instead, what we're seeing is these demonstrations accusing Israel of the worst types of crimes, which I will not repeat here, which are false. How is that possible? How do you put that together as we as well think about the Holocaust and the propaganda that was created in 1933? How do we mesh this all together and cope with the lies and the distortions that are happening right now on campuses?
Yeah, I think one of the things, and again, it's very fraught to make comparisons to Germany, Nazi Germany, and the Holocaust, and I completely understand it. So I'm not making comparison as much as I am identifying processes. And one thing that we have to remember, Nazi Germany didn't just originate in beer halls. It also originated in lecture halls, right? If it wasn't just the Munich beer halls where things started, but also in the University of Munich lecture halls that gave the entire Nazi regime an educated sort of jargon to push their narrative to indoctrinate people. And that is what we're seeing here. In the same way that the Nazis, one of the most incredible things is that they documented everything because they weren't ashamed of what they did. Hamas on October 7th documented everything because they weren't ashamed of what they did. The comparisons are very, very clear here. And the same thing with the reaction. The reaction that the Nazis received on the street were either of support or of indifference and looking the other way. The reaction that Hamas is receiving on the streets of the United States and Canada and Western Europe is either of support or the more dangerous of indifference and looking the other way. So we have to remember, just because people are educated does not mean that they are good nor smart people. Just means that they're able to rationalize whatever conclusion they want to achieve.
Professor, thank you. I'm being told, even though I'd like to take a question from the audience, can I? I'm going to take one question from the audience, but we're nearly out of time, so it's got to be a quick one. Well, this is your chance, guys. Okay, there's a question. There's a microphone, sir. I don't know. Okay, I'll repeat it. It's fine. Might be better anyway for the people at home. Okay.
Hi, Shai. First of all, I want to thank you. As a graduate of Columbia University, I think that the alum and all of the students are indebted to you. It's not the same campus that it was when I was there many, many decades ago. It's not the same campus that my son was at as a student. What is your prediction for what will Columbia be like 20 years from now, especially with regard to its Jewish student body?
Wow. I honestly do not know. I honestly do not know where we're headed, but I do know one thing, that we must take an active part in shaping Colombia's future and the U.S. higher education in general. We cannot just sit idly by and hope for hate to go away. Because one thing about hate is that it doesn't go away by itself. It goes away when you fight it with love, and it goes away when you create institutions that stop it from proliferating. So if I have anything to do with it, Colombia of 20 years from now will not be as it was. We're not going back to a normal, but it will be a better, safer, improved normal for everyone. And I do mean everyone. My wife's grandfather was a professor of Jewish history at Columbia in the 1970s, and he felt safe and welcome. And my hope is that if my children or grandchildren in the future will want to be professors or students at Columbia, they will be just as safe. And for that, we just need to keep fighting. We fight peacefully and non-violently, but we fight. And that's my hope and my goal.
Professor, that was a great question to end with, and I want to thank you very much on behalf of all of us. You know, I just want to tell you, you are leading by example. When we saw your video, as you already know yourself, that inspired countless of Jewish activists to stand up and raise their voices. So please keep doing what you're doing. We're right behind you.
Thank you so much. And if I can only inspire a few people in my life to do good, then, my life was well spent. So thank you so much, really.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. That was incredible. I want to now introduce to you another incredible person. His name
Recording stopped.
His name is Peter Palchik. He's an Israeli judoka. Peter is been competing under the
recording in progress.
Okay. Peter has been competing under the 100 kilogram weight category. He was born in Ukraine, moved to Israel with his mother as a baby, and from a young age he began competing in judo, representing Israel worldwide. He's an award-winning athlete holding many, many accolades. In the course of his work, as you might expect, he's experienced much anti-Semitism, very sadly, in his sport. But he stood up to that anti-Semitism, and we're going to hear from him right now.
I'm fine. Even though there's very tough times. But yeah, I'm good. I'm heading to Asia to my next competition. It's a Grand Slam in Kazakhstan. So nice. Now I'm in between the flights, but I'm happy to be with you.
So first of all, thank you for taking time for this interview. For the audience watching us worldwide, can you please tell us briefly about yourself and what you've been up to lately?
For those who know me and for those not, I'm Peter Palchik. I'm an Israeli Olympic judoka, judo player. Although I was born in half island of Crimea, I was raised in Israel since I'm 9 months old. I came here with my mom. She was basically 23. It's very, very young.
Very young.
And we started alone, me and her, our new life here in Israel. So I grew up in the tough times, and I found my first love at the age of 4. It's called the sports of judo. And since then, I started to rise and to find myself, my inner power. And I grew up in this lovely sport, and I cherish its values. It's all about respect. It's about mutual respect. And I always say that sentence. It doesn't matter if me and my opponent want to kill each other. inside the mat, sportively, of course. Outside of the mats, we always reach our hands for peace, hug, and respect each other. So this is the most important values of my sport. I grew up Olympic athlete. I became an Olympic bronze medalist in the last Olympic Games in Tokyo, world bronze medalist and the European champion. And today I feel kind of an ambassador for Israel, also outside of the judo mat.
We'll get back to that in a few minutes. As a representative of Israel in sports, you have a significant influence. How do you see your mission in the present circumstances?
I think my main goal is to show the beautiful of Israel, and through the sports, of course. And whether I go to an Islamic country or Europe, or it doesn't matter where, I always feel proud to represent Israel. I always feel proud to raise our flag and to hear our anthem. So I really feel like an ambassador. And when I'm standing on the podium, I'm not standing alone. Never. I'm never alone. You know. And I always feel like it's more of national thing, you know. And of course, I know a lot of people in Israel supporting me, and they of course, especially in this kind of times when there is war and there is not everything is not stable. So we as the Israeli people, we look for this kind of moments to feel proud. So I think there is a lot of responsibility in my hands when I'm fighting to bring that kind of proudness to my people. So it's all about that for me.
And you just mentioned that you were in between flights. So as someone that travels around the world, how would you describe the level of anti-Semitism now?
It's rising, and it's sometimes it's scary because it was before, it was like 70 something years ago in Germany, you know, and then it passed away from the world. We thought it was, and now during the past decades, it's rising again. And of course, after October 7th, it's reaching a new levels of anti-Semitism, and I feel it also inside our sports. I feel it inside of the competitions. Even my colleagues from other countries now, you know, they see me and they stare away. They don't want to make the eye contact even.
Wow.
They don't want to reach the hand for peace after some fights, and it's not that kind of countries that usually do that, you know. So it's getting it's rising and getting a new level of anti-Semitism, and it's very scary what the future brings, you know.
Were you able to speak with other judoka players?
Yes, I always try to reach out and speak with them and to show them the facts. First of all, show them the facts. Secondly, I explain them my point of view of everything about this, everything that happened. And I noticed that most of them, they don't know the facts. They don't know really what happens, and they hear some things in their social medias, in their, you know, what the algorithm shows to them. It's not the same thing that we have, you know. And I see that. And recently I had an encounter with a taxi driver inside of one of the countries in Asia, a Muslim country, and he heard my Hebrew. I was talking with my colleague, and all of a sudden he stopped the car, pulled the brakes, and he said, "Go out from the taxi."
Wow.
And I said, "No, I'm not gonna go out. You're gonna continue to drive, and I will explain you, and I will explain you everything on the way." And I'm a Russian speaker as well, so all of a sudden I found myself doing a lecture in the Russian language some taxi driver, and I felt I felt a lot of responsibility for everything I'm gonna say, because it will influence on his way of thinking, and eventually I made him to understand really what happened in October 7th. So from that point it's on his it's on his mind. So yeah, there is a lot of encounters like that, but that one is a very specific example of the reaction when people hear or see someone from Israel.
Last February, you won a bronze medal at the Grand Slam in Paris. Could you share what happened when you stepped onto the podium, accept the medal?
It was a pity moment for me, because when you hear a lot of cheering, and most of them, of course, my supporters and from all over the world that coming to this beautiful tournament, you always remember that two comments that was against you, and one of them really touched me, because they put Palestine flags, and they tried to provoke me, and I felt like it's not the way it should be. It was a sad moment for me, but I was happy with my win, and I raised the Israeli flag very high. So immediately I moved. Yeah, I moved my thought to the positive way.
How do you see our future with everything that's going on today worldwide with anti-Semitism and so on?
Usually, when I talk to people about everything happening in Israel, I try to explain them that there is a lot of cultures, a lot of religions inside Israel, and of course outside globally. And my point of view about life, that I'm not criticize no person about where he come from, like what his religion or his ethnical origin. Nothing. It's not, that thing is not, doesn't matter for me. Where he comes from, what his color. I don't care. People are people, and we should respect each other. We should reach our hand for peace always. It doesn't matter the circumstances, and we need to accept more. So I always tell people that our difficulties and problems, it's not about the religion. It's not against Muslim people. I have Muslim friends inside Israel, and of course outside in some countries, and I love them. I respect them. I appreciate them. So yeah, this is my message to the world: love and respect each other, no matter who you are or where you come from. I think we will have a little better world than what we have now.
Thank you so much, Peter. And I want to wish you good luck, and we hope to see you, of course, on the podium very soon. And thank you very much again.
Amen for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you very much, Peter, for being an ambassador for Israel and the Jewish people. I think it's what we all need to do. That is our job. That's our role, no matter who you are. And wherever we go, we need to be ambassadors because education, as the professor said beforehand, is really the key. Now we're moving fast through our program, so we're getting going here, and I'm here with a good friend of mine, Fleur Hassan Nahum, who is an incredible leader. You're the outgoing deputy mayor here in Jerusalem as well. I understand you're in a new role, Israel's special envoy to trade. You have an extensive background in leadership, in community involvement, in engagement, but I think your words will say it all today. Let's start first, maybe slow, and talk a little bit about your new role. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here and all our friends and supporters all around the world. And I'd like to thank my wonderful friends at the Friends of Zion Museum who do such quality work here in Jerusalem to engage all sorts of audiences. And I'm so proud to always be associated with them and also with your initiatives, Avi. So thank you. Well, I was appointed Special Envoy for Trade and Innovation in September, 3 weeks before October 7th. And so just as I was getting ready for my new role to be the ambassador of the Startup Nation, the war started. And so I pivoted, or they pivoted me, or I pivoted myself into the person who's one of the people who's trying to defend Israel in the media, in the English media, and also the Spanish-speaking media. And so, to be honest, the new role was supposed to be that type of person that brings connections for Israel, takes incredible innovation, life-saving, climate-changing, in the best of ways, clean energy innovation to the world and brings the world to Israel. But at the moment, I'm just defending our mere right to exist.
Which is actually perfect, I think, for you, because I know that you speak eloquently and how well you do in that arena. But you also do well in the arena of building peace. And, an area that's of interest to me, but I know it's an area that you've been very focused on, specifically following or during the Abraham Accords with the UAE, with Bahrain, with Morocco, and other countries, and particularly with women. And I think that is an incredible accomplishment in terms of what you've been able to achieve to gather these people around you. Can you tell us where it stands now?
So in 2020, I co-founded the UAE Israel Business Council, and shortly after the Gulf Israel Women's Forum. And we saw an unprecedented era of normalization in the region. Shortly after that came Bahrain, then came Morocco, Sudan, and now we're talking about Saudi Arabia. So what's exactly going on? And, when I think about the incredible suffering that the Jewish people and our allies and friends have gone through since October 7th, and there are days when it's difficult to get up in the morning because we're in the midst of not just what's happened to us, which is a horrible massacre, but we have an ongoing wound, which is our hostages. And until our hostages are returned, we will not return to who we were. I am a different person from October 7th. I have changed forever. And I think that I speak for my country and my people when I say this. And I don't think it's just Jews here, but it's Jews across the world. And again, our allies, like we see so many of our Christian friends here. And so in these very difficult moments, when I'm finding it hard to find the light at the end of the tunnel, one of the lights at the end of that tunnel are the Abraham Accords. Why do I say that? And I have to explain this to people because I don't think people really understand the significance of the Abraham Accords and, more importantly, how they have held on. So after October 7th, the Arab world was caught completely by surprise. I don't think anybody expected Israel to have let its guard down to the point that this could have happened to us. None of us did. The Arabs didn't either. The Arabs who'd made peace with us. So they went through moments of shock. And then what's interesting is nobody really came out against us as the West was turning against us. The Arab Abraham Accord countries did not. And then something very interesting happened, which has basically gone completely unnoticed by the media. But I still talk about this. And this is a month after October 7th, the Arab League met. The Arab League are 22 countries. They met to pass 3 boycotts. 1 against the United States and 2 against Israel. 1 rolling back the Abraham Accords and 1 whatever. And they couldn't get them through. They could not pass 3 boycotts. Now, the Arab League can't pass boycotts on Israel? That's progress. Okay, move forward. We move forward again. You see marches in New York, you see marches in Washington, in London, everywhere. Where don't you see marches? The UAE. Where don't you see marches? Saudi, Bahrain, you don't see marches. Morocco, there was a little march, unfortunately, in my mother's hometown, Tangiers, but you don't see big marches. In the moderate Sunni Arab world, you don't see marches. You see them in the West. So that's the irony of this whole story. But what was really significant 3 weeks ago, Avi, was that when Iran attacked Israel to obliterate Israel, let's not be confused, they weren't trying, they threw 350 missiles at Israel to destroy us. What, the fact that we can defend ourselves gives them the right to try and destroy us? It's warped thinking. Anyway, we had Jordanian planes in the air stopping the missiles. We had 2 days later, and this is the significant thing, we knew that the UAE and Saudi helped us. But 2 days after, they came out and admitted that they helped us. In the Arab world, it's all about rhetoric. So when you have the UAE, Saudi, Bahrain, whoever saying we helped Israel, again, that's progress. That's progress.
That is progress. And you know what? You're giving us optimism, especially on this day. And I'm being told that we don't have a lot of time. It's Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day. I want to bring up one of our mutual colleagues in the UAE, in Dubai, Ahmed Al-Mansouri, who started the first ever Holocaust Museum, which is an incredible thing. I'm sure you visited there as well. Do you think 10 years, 20 years from now, Abraham Accords will be more grounded, Holocaust education will penetrate more into the Arab world? Do you think that that's likely to happen?
Well, it will only happen if we start talking about the endemic anti-Semitism in the Islamic world. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's almost like they have an excuse because, you know, we're in conflict, so they can be anti-Semitic. Egypt, Jordan, countries we have peace with are in the media anti-Semitism, in the school book anti-Semitism. And I've been talking about this for 5 years in the Palestinian Authority school books, a kilometer from here in East Jerusalem schools, teaching anti-Semitic rhetoric, and in the media, even countries that have made peace with us. But on the upside, we have the UAE that has included Holocaust education in the school books, and Saudi Arabia, which has taken out anti-Semitism from their school books. So the only way we can confront what's going on now is if we deal with all types of anti-Jewish hatred, coming from the West, guising itself as anti-colonialism, which we know is complete rubbish, and coming from the Islamic world. Let's stop giving them excuses to continue to teach Jew hatred in their schools.
I have to wrap up, I'm being told, but I can't help myself here, so I apologize. But, you know, what is your viewpoint on the anti-Semitism on campuses? How do we deal with it? And how does Israel itself see that reflection? Do Israelis kind of shake their heads and go, I cannot believe this? What is the reaction here? And if we could say it in about a minute.
Oh, no pressure. Okay, basically, this is not new, what we're seeing in campuses. This has been brewing for 30 years. When they tried to convince people, and many Israelis and many Jews fell for it, no, anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, that was rubbish, okay? We all knew it, but nobody wanted to talk about it because Jews are so politically correct, we shoot ourselves in the foot. So enough. We have to wake up, call something for what it is. This is Jewish hatred. They've warped it. This is another iteration, a mutating virus of anti-Semitism. We are the best decolonization example in the last 100 years, and we've been turned into the colonizers. Why? Because this is anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism always hides itself in a social justice cause. Anti-Semitism is not regular discrimination. It's a discrimination that vilifies the person for being too successful or not successful enough, and it doesn't matter what you are and what you do, you will always be that expression of the scapegoatism of the day. That is unique to anti-Semitism. And enough universalizing the Holocaust, enough universalizing anti-Semitism. It is its own particular hatred, and if we don't see it for what it is, then we can't deal with it for what it is.
Fleur Hassan Nahum. Fleur Hassan Nahum, you are probably one of the most important voices of our time. Please keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much, Fleur. I am going to recalibrate here. It is now my honor and pleasure as well to invite Orit Izilov. She's joining us now, and Orit is serving as a shlicha, which means in English, emissary of the Jewish Agency to the campus of UC Davis. Orit is serving in this position as part of the Jewish Agency's delegation of some 90 such emissaries, serving really on the front lines. And we thought it would be very important to hear from a young person today on campus who is on the front line. So do we have Orit? There you are. Can you hear us?
I can. Thank you so much for having me today. It's a great honor.
It's an honor and a pleasure to have you. Welcome. Thank you very much for taking a little bit of your time to join us. We don't have very long, but I'd like you to maybe give us a 1-minute rundown of your work on campus.
Yes, so as you mentioned, I am a shlicha of the Jewish Agency on the campuses of UC Davis and the Sacramento area. I am in my second year now, so I have been a shlicha for almost 2 years. I've seen a lot of instances and incidents before October 7th and after it, of course, unfortunately. And I have to say that there's a lot of incidents that we're kind of like shaking our hands and don't know what to do about. On the one hand, on the other hand, we see a lot of resilience on college campuses. Students are starting to understand their power, and not only in numbers, because the Jewish people have always been a minority, but more so in their unity, becoming a community, overcoming differences. It's a huge thing here, especially because Jews have been in the forefront of different organizations and leading different social justices movement, because it is in our core values. So we see a lot of resilience. And so even though we've been seeing a lot of anti-Semitism, something that I think is important to note is the power of shlichim here, is being visible, is being proudly Jewish, proudly Zionist, proudly Israeli, and bringing that voice not only to campus, but also to their hearts.
We believe that's very important, and we thank you for that. Orit, can you tell us, it's Yom HaShoah. Are there any memorials or ceremonies happening on campuses today?
We're not present on the campus itself, simply because there's a lot of demonstrations, a lot of hate, and we don't want to put anyone in harm's way or, unfortunately, inflammate anything that's going on right now. But what we are doing is we're hosting community event, and it is led by student group with me. So Mishelanu, Israeli American community, and the Jewish Agency, and Hillel, which I work for. We're leading an event today at the Arboretum. It's a park. Students will be reading poems, lighting candles, and praying. But there's nothing that's happening on campus itself because of these concerns.
I feel it's very unfortunate. In my days on university campus, we would have events marking Holocaust remembrance. We would do Yom HaShoah. It would be part and parcel as Jews on campus of something that we did so proudly. How are the Jewish students coping in your view?
Yeah, I think it's a big deal. Visibility is really important, as we know, especially here on college campuses. They're very resilient. It's been a long journey. I think especially after October 7th, there's been a lot of concern and I would say even they were very reserved, meaning people were hiding their Jewish Stars of David or high necklaces, different kind of like things that show their Judaism on the outside. But after October 7th, people have come together, Jewish people, Jewish students from all kinds of organizations and political backgrounds realize that there's a need in unity. And there's a lot of visibility right now on campus in terms of tabling and in terms of doing a hostage demonstration, meaning not something that is very loud or out there, but something very visible, meaning we don't have to scream and shout. We just have to be visible. We have to be there. We're giving out bagels on the quad. We're having different social events. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is being together. The unity part is an integral part of the Jewish people, especially now more than ever.
I couldn't agree with you more, and unity is really what it's all about. We commend you for doing everything that you are doing on campus and your colleagues and the fellow students. If you can carry forward the message, especially on Yom HaShoah, that we stand behind you 100%, and, there's nothing that can overcome that unity. We're like a rock, so we're behind you 100%, and please keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Am Yisrael Chai.
Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you. The people on the front lines who are working on campus, who are representing us, they're the heroes of today. We have it easy, and I had it easy in my day in comparison, and I'm sure all of you who have gone to university, we were part of the honeymoon period, and so really we have to acknowledge our students as much as possible and thank them and continue motivating them because they are really on the front lines. It's now my pleasure as well to introduce to you the Executive Director of Hasbara Fellowships, Mr. Alan Levine. That's me, right? Okay. Assume we're getting him on. Okay, so we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, as we said, and we may come back to Alan. But it's very difficult. Sorry? Oh, we have Alan. Okay, good. Sometimes these technical difficulties happen, so this is the life we live in. Alan. Okay, there you are, Alan. Welcome. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Thank you. How are you?
Okay, we're well. Thank you very much. Welcome to, we're here in Jerusalem and around the world watching you. We're observing Yom HaShoah, and in doing so, we're discussing anti-Semitism on campuses and elsewhere. Give us maybe, and we're short on time, so give us maybe a quick roundup of what's happening in your life.
In my life, my organization, Hasbara Fellowships, we are active on 80 plus university campuses around the United States and Canada. We work with Jewish students and other Zionist students to combat anti-Semitism and combat the anti-Israel propaganda that's become all too common around the world, and especially around the university campuses here in North America. And to answer your question, what's going on in my life? What's going on is what you've seen in the news.
On your campuses, really.
Right. What's going on is what you've seen in the news. We have, unfortunately, anti-Israel protests at the moment that are really just have grown beyond control, really much larger than I think anyone could have imagined even a couple of months ago. But I think those of us who've been observing this for a long time knew that we had a problem. Those of us who are students of Jewish history, and a day like Yom HaShoah is a good opportunity to reflect on our history. We know history repeats itself, and I think what we're seeing is no less than our generation's challenge, and our generation's our time and our unfortunately our calling to fight anti-Semitism, just as previous generations have done.
Right, Alan. Since your organization is called Hasbara, which is really a critical name at this juncture, right? To educate people. Do you have relationships with other faith groups, whether they be Muslim groups or Christian groups, Sikh groups, Indian? Do you make headway with these groups to educate them about the truth?
Yes, although yes, and also, and actually even more of an emphasis on university campuses today are other causes, other ethnic groups here in the United States and in Canada, the African American community, Latino communities, other causes like environmentalist students and so forth, and yes, that is essentially, that has been the work we've done, the strategy we've had over the last several years, and yes, having to explain to those groups why Israel is so important to us as a Jewish community, and why threats against Israel and anti-Israel propaganda are really a form of anti-Semitism.
Okay, I want to see if there are any questions from the audience for you. I see some young people, some students in the audience. Yes, go ahead. So he's asking us students. Okay, he's getting a microphone.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
As students who are going to be on college campuses next year, I'm curious what advice you have for us. And thank you so much for talking to us.
Great. Well, thank you. So I assume you'll be in an American college campus, since you're asking me, even though you're in Israel now. Look, I think you're in Israel now, and I might guess you're there on a gap year. And even if you're not, I think the best thing you can do is take in everything you're seeing and know the truth. Know the truth. Be curious. Ask questions. Understand. Meet people. Understand what's really going on while you're in Israel, because you're going to step into a world full of lies when you get to a college campus. Really anywhere in the world, but here in North America, we're seeing protesters that really lie through their teeth. The propaganda is at an all-time high. Unfortunately, even professors are involved, and I've heard so many lies from calling Israel an apartheid state to lies about history, the way that Israel was formed. Take your time to really learn it all, and when you come to campus, you'll have the confidence to say, I know more than you, and I know the truth, and I'll tell you what it is.
Thank you. Alan, we want to thank you very much for joining us this evening for us. Thank you very much. I wish you a lot of luck in your daily work. You and Hasbara Fellowships, keep doing it. We say that students are on the front lines. They're doing the toughest job, so keep going.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and everybody has a meaningful, reflective Yom HaShoah.
Thank you. So as this year has been probably one of the most difficult years in Jewish history since the Holocaust. There are many Jews who are still being held hostage by Hamas in Gaza. One of the survivors, his name is Ophir. We'd like to share with you a video, and then we will introduce to you his grandfather, who will come and speak in a few minutes. So let's run that video of Ophir.
So tell me about what happened to you.
In 7 October, I was in my home, my girlfriend home in Be'eri.
My daughter is 17 years old, and her boyfriend was in the weekend.
6 o'clock in the morning, he called my brother, his father, and he told him, "Father, there are a lot of alarms. We hear bombs more than usually. We are in the safe room. I'm alive." Every 10 minutes, we were sending him messages and he to us, until he sent us a message that they hear Arabs speaking inside the house.
The tourists come in home.
Yeah.
Open the security room.
3 of them who dressed in black, all of them.
And took us down.
Yeah.
They shocked the dog.
My daughter was, holding hands with her boyfriend, and she saw that she's walking with him to the car, and the terrorist told her, no. They point to Amit, to the teenager, and told him, "Okay, you come," and they put him inside the car.
They put
them
on the car.
On a small black car.
Small black car, yeah. Drive to Gaza.
Away.
Yeah.
To Gaza.
Run away.
Gaza. Take us to a house. This is the first house. It was 5 houses.
5 houses?
Yeah. And in the night, take us to another house with 2 guards.
2 guards?
Yeah. The second house was 26 days. We eat 1.5 pita and labane. In the morning and the evening,
Nothing.
Nothing, yeah. They say all the time in Israel, don't care about us. And you stay in Gaza 1 year and more, and you not go home.
How did you handle it emotionally?
You believe that in Israel do something to...
You had faith.
To help us. And you all the time hope.
Keep hoping.
Yeah.
Hope and believe, hope and believe.
Hope and believe. When did you first see your parents?
In Chatzerin. The base Chatzerin. I ran them and hugged him and...
Allah!
We've had a lot of people praying for you and speaking up in your behalf and in behalf of the other hostages. This is a gift from us.
Thanks.
But we want to be able to help you in any way you need help, because we're family, we're mishbuka, and we love you and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things that's a big celebration is when a hostage comes home. And so we have a wonderful story here, and the family that will tell a little bit will also conduct the Hanukkah candle.
ערב טוב. לפני שנדליק את הנרות, אני רוצה קודם כל לברך על כך שהנכד שלנו אופיר הבן של שרון ויואב, חזר לפני שבוע וחצי מהכלא, מהשבי הנורא בעזה, ואנחנו מאוד מאוד מקווים ונלחמים על זה שנצליח להחזיר את כל 137 חטופים שעדיין שם סובלים מאוד. והיום אנחנו יודעים כמה הם סובלים כששמענו מאלה שחזרו על מה שהם עברו ב-54 ימים שלהם.
That was an amazing tribute to the hostages, and also an important backgrounder to Ophir, who is your grandson, and with me now is Juha, Angel. You are the grandfather of Ophir, but you're also the son of a Holocaust survivor. Thank you very much for joining us. How does that, your grandson was in Gaza. Thank God he's home now. Your parents are survivors. How do you put the two together in your mind?
It's not so easy. My father was born in Slovakia, and when he was 20, he went to Holland. He wanted to go to Israel, to Palestine, with a group who built the kibbutz Kfar HaMakabi in the north. But he decided first to go to study agriculture in Holland, in Assen, and then to come to Palestine. And he was in Holland till 1942, and then the Dutch police told him that he has to go out Holland because he's not Dutch. So he went to France, and on the way to Switzerland. And in France, he met friends in the underground of Wetzerville, and he started to work there and help Jewish families from Holland to come through him in France to go to Switzerland. And in December 42, somebody told the Nazis that he's a Jew. Then they took him and he came to Auschwitz. He went to Auschwitz with a train through Drancy. In the 11th of February 43, he came into Birkenau. And then he was chosen to go to work. And he worked in a factory, in the beginning in Birkenau, and then in a factory till end of 44. And then he went back to Auschwitz and start the death parade for 3.5 months, and after 3.5 months, he, with 2 other friends, killed them guards, the 3 German guards, took them close, and went to the Americans in Flossenburg, in America, to the hospital. And after a few weeks in the hospital in Flossenburg, he came back to Holland, met his girlfriend, and immediately they decided to marry and to go to Israel. They came to Israel at April 46, exactly a year on the day, exactly a year when they came to the Americans in Flossenburg. And I was born 2 months later. And my mother was, she had luck, because her father, at the beginning of May 40, when they saw that the Nazis is coming to Holland, then they are living in Holland. Then my grandfather bought false papers that they were not Jewish. So with that, she could work in the farms in Holland, and to be in contact with the underground in Holland, contact with families who were in the ground in farms in around Apeldoorn and so on. Until 45, she was there.
You know, when you think about the trials and tribulations that they had to go through, many survivors had to go through, and the stories around that. And we juxtapose that as well with some of the things that we're dealing with today. Nothing compares to the Holocaust, but when your grandson was in Gaza, did that occur to you that...
Look, I will tell you another thing. I had a son, my son Yair. He was a basketball player in Hapoel Yerushalayim, and he studied in the Gymnasia Ivrit in Yerushalayim. And after he wanted always to be a basketball player, but after he went to the March of Living in Poland, he decided that he will go to the most important group in the army who want to take him. Then he went to the Shayete, to the Navy, and there he lost his life. And after he lost his life, we found a song that he wrote during the march in Poland, 6 Million Brothers, and there he explained, in the song, he explained our life and why it's so important that he will go, that we have to continue to live in our country for the 6 million Jewish who were killed in the war. 6 million, you can find the song in the... And then, after years, we thought that we finish, and at the 7th of October, we got, as you hear here, Ophir told the story, and for us it was very, very terrible, very difficult. We were 2 months, we didn't know anything about him, anything. We didn't hear anything about him. And we tried many things to do, to call, and I have been twice in Holland and in Denmark to try. And we tried also to make for him a Dutch passport, because my mother. And when we tried at the middle of October, after 5 days, he got a passport, Dutch passport. And then Mr. Rutte, the Prime Minister of Holland, and all the government there help us also. And they tried to get him back. And every time Rutte, the Prime Minister, called me and sent me messages, what he does for Ophir and for other hostages. And when Ophir came, he said always, I had a big luck, because I was always with the 2 others, the Yossi, the father of his girlfriend, and the other boy, Amit. All the 54 days we were together, never under the ground. But you heard all the psychologic and everything, no food, nothing, and not very, very difficult. And now we are very busy to help the other hostages, the hundreds.
I want to ask you about that, but and I didn't want to interrupt your flow. That was just heart-wrenching about your son, dying in the military, and the poem that he wrote following the March of the Living. So thank you very much for sharing that with us, and it's very poignant on this day especially. We would love to hear. You're obviously wearing the hostage shirt. You're wearing the number 213 days. Tell me about your activity. Do you think that we can get the hostages back?
At the first week in October, we said, and other specialists like Uri Slonim said, that now we have to change 6,000 Palestinian prisoners to give them back, to send them home, and get back to 140 hostages. And he said, Uri Slonim said, that every day later will be difficult. And now we are 230 days from then, and we don't know when it will be finished. We don't know how many hostages. We said 132. A week before we said 133. But we found one in Israel. In Israel, not in Hamas, in Israel. So we don't know. The Hamas never said how many they have, dead or alive. We don't know how many life they have. And the Hamas never said. No organization in the world help us to something to do, to know what about our hostages. Not the
Red Cross.
Not the Red Cross, not the United Nations, nobody. Because all the world think that all what happened started at the 8th of October. 7th of October, no, nothing. Even today, there was a talk between Biden and Bibi. And Biden asked Bibi to open Kerem Shalom gate again. What yesterday, 4 Israelis were killed there from the bombs of the Hamas. So the world do not want to understand our side. And I will tell you a story. I was 45 years a shaliach in Holland. I speak Dutch. And for youth, I was a youth leader. And one day, I went with a train from Amsterdam to Rotterdam. It was Sunday. And I saw in Rotterdam, in the railway station, I saw a line of Muslims are sitting there. I came back to Holland, to Amsterdam, and I said to my chanichim, the oldest chanichim, I told them, look, something happened here in Holland 45 years ago. Something happened here. You have to keep your eyes. What was the answer? They will get our culture. Don't be afraid. I said, auf mir gesucht. That's in Yiddish. Never happened. Never happened. What we see now, that all Europe and all America, and America is different, all Europe, so many Muslims. We are in the world only 15 million Jewish people all over the world. The Muslims are 2 billion or something like this. That's our problem. Our problem, we have to keep our nation close as we can and to fight to not to be finished, not the second Shoah. And I called the 7th of October the Shoah of the 7th of October. I have discussions about it with our Prime Minister and with our President. And I wrote today to the President about it because at the 7th of October, there was a group who wanted to kill all the Jewish. And second,
they still do.
These 8 hours were not land, were not army, like in the Shoah. And if you will make a count, how many Jewish people, how many Israelis were killed per hour in the 7th of October, it's more than all the Holocaust together per hour. So don't tell me that 7th of October for the people in Gaza Strip was not a Holocaust.
You're very, very, you have very strong feelings and emotions, and rightfully so. And I know we're out of time. So I'm going to just ask you, and we can go on all night because I can really feel the power of your strength on these issues. How do you think Israel recovers, and when will Israel recovers? If it's possible, and you need, and it's, and I'm sorry to do this to you, but it needs to be in a minute.
You ask me a very, very difficult question because I don't know on here in the stage to go in politics. But
without politics,
without politics, it's very difficult because I don't know what will happen. We never had. I have been in 3 wars, and in between the wars, and even the Yom Kippur War was 90 days, 19 days. That's all. We were 100 days in Miluim, But 90 days was the war. 7 months a war here against a small group of terrorists. I didn't say a small group of terrorists. Somebody else from my leaders say a small group of terrorists. 7 months, and you cannot, in all the world, during these 7 months, all the world are coming against us. I didn't hear one voice for us, for Israel. Everybody. Now, if you go to Rafiah, oy vavoy. And what I'm doing now is I give a lot of lectures about from Mishoah Letkuma to Shoah 710. In schools, I have 2 or 3 lectures a day nowadays, these days. And because I want to explain, because I am very, very afraid now that the people in Israel, the young people in Israel, will forget the Shoah of 45. We'll forget it. Because we have a project, I have a big project, I collect songs from children, second, third, fourth generation, who were to Poland and wrote songs about the Shoah. We get this year, we get some songs from children of 16 years old that wrote about the Shoah of the 17. So that's something very, 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 very special that we have to keep our open eyes to see what will happen in the future.
I agree. Sadly, we are out of time, but we are very honored by your views, by you being here with us today and sharing so much of your emotion and these difficulties within your family, including the loss of your son. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Okay, we are nearing the end of the program today, and I understand we have one more video to show from Mike Evans, who is the founder, if I'm not mistaken, of this museum. So, ladies and gentlemen, please let me draw your attention to the screen.
Hello, I'm Mike Evans. Universities across America are on fire as students are rallying to support Israel's enemies such as Hamas. Many of them chant, "Make us proud," "Kill another soldier now." Others shout, "Remember October 7th. It will happen not one more time or 5 more times, but 10,000 more times." They hold up signs in support of terrorist organizations such as the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine and Hezbollah, screaming, "Globalize the Intifada. Will you never let up or never let down until Zionism is destroyed and the Zionists start to hide like Nazis." They chant slogans like, "Say it loud, say it clear. We don't want a Zionist here. From the river to the sea, Palestine is all you'll see. Jews go back to Poland." I want to remind you what this is a response to. This is a response to October 7th attack, when 3,500 terrorists stormed Israel, raping, burning alive and beheading Jews and taking them hostages. By the way, they were paid $10,000 for it, and a new house if they brought back hostages. Who's behind the university riots in America? The Muslim Brotherhood, an Islamic organization with a political approach to Islam, founded in Egypt in 1928. It is a key source that fuels Islamic terrorism. According to its founder, it's the nature of Islam to dominate and not be dominated, to impose Islam on all nations, and to extend this power to the entire world. The organization's motto is, "Allah is our objective, and the Prophet is our leader. The Quran is our law. Jihad is our way, and dying in the way of Allah is our highest hope." During World War II, the Muslim Brotherhood strongly supported Hitler and the Nazi Party. Hamas was created in December 1987 as an armed wing of the Palestine branch of the Muslim Brotherhood. Hamas is the Muslim Brotherhood's political arm in Gaza. In 1988, Hamas published its charter calling for the murder of Jews and the destruction of Israel. During the Iraq War, it issued a fatwa saying it was a religious obligation of Muslims to abduct and kill Americans in Iraq. They condemned the U.S. killing of Osama bin Laden and also facilitated the growth of Al-Qaeda. The mastermind of the 9/11 attack was an Islamic Brotherhood cleric and a deputy of bin Laden, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. What transpired in Syria in the Arab Spring was birthed by the Muslim Brotherhood through protest in the Arab world. And by the way, they were on university campuses then. They destroyed Syria. The Muslim Brotherhood almost overthrew Egypt also. It receives massive financial support from Qatar and Turkey. They operate in 70 countries of the world and have deep roots in Washington, D.C. and on our university campuses. Billions of dollars have been spent establishing chairs on university campuses by the Muslim Brotherhood. There are 3.5 million Muslims in the United States. The vast majority of them are registered Democrats. These are some of the Muslim Brotherhood organizations operating on university campuses. Muslim American Society, MAS, Muslim Student Association, MSA, Muslim World League, MWL, World Assembly of Muslim Youth, WAMY, the Council on American Islamic Relations, CAIR. Foreign aid generally reaches Gaza through the UN agencies, UNRWA, and the U.S. government and American taxpayers fund UNRWA. And oh, by the way, while I was in Israel in front of a ballistic missile, meeting with the military, they told me that the terrorists in Gaza used the funding from American taxpayer dollars going to UNRWA to kill Jews. The riots on the campuses of America are being funded and organized by Israel haters from throughout the globe. What in the world has happened to America and moral sanity? This is precisely what happened in 1933 in German universities. They paved the ground for the Holocaust, convincing ultimately even the churches to embrace the big lie. The only thing for evil to triumph is for God's people to do nothing.
Thank you for saying the truth, Mike Evans. We appreciate that very much. We are wrapping up, and before I say our goodbyes, we want to bring up Cantor Ariel to sing us a final song, the Song of the Ascent, Shir Ma'alot, which is a wonderful piece to wrap up this Yom HaShoah event. Thank you.
שיר המעלות, אשא עיני אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי, עזרי מעם השם, עושה שמיים וארץ, אל יתן למות רגליך, אל ינום שומרך, הנה לא ינום ולא יישן, שומר ישראל, השם שומרך, השם צילך, על יד ימינך, יומם השמש לא יככה, וירח בלילה, השם שומרך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך, השם ישמור צאתך ובואך, מעתה ועד עולם, מעתה ועד עולם.
Cantor Cohen, you have a beautiful voice, and for those of you who didn't understand the words, I would invite you to read them. They're very, very powerful and poignant about God protecting us. As now we conclude this event, this ceremony, I want to thank again the Friends of Zion Museum, my own organization, the Abraham Global Peace Initiative, for being here, for supporting this, for putting this on. It means a tremendous deal to us, to the world. This has been a very unique event, talking about anti-Semitism, bringing to the fore critical issues about the hostages that are now still in Gaza and calling for their return home, and to, of course, remembering the 6 million victims of the Holocaust. We will never forget them. They will always be in our hearts forever. And we end by saying, Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you.